What's good, everyone? Welcome to the King McClure Show, and I'm your host, King McClure. Excited to be your home for everything college basketball news and notes. We've got an extremely packed show for you today, so let's get to it. Let's start with 15 on 15. I don't want to waste your time. Let's go 15 on 15. You know how this goes if you've been watching. 15 minutes. We talk about the top 15 teams in the country. My man Hank is going to put a clock up there, and hopefully I stay on time. I've been doing a really good job in these past few weeks.
You're doing great. You got this.
Thank you, Hank. First off, you know what? Let's pause real quick. Hank, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was a good Thanksgiving. It was nice. I went back. I'll hide the timer here. I went back. I was on the East Coast with some family. Saw my cousins. It was a good time. How about you?
Mine was pretty good. I tried not to eat too much because, we have fitness goals that we have to obtain. But other than that, I think that it was pretty solid, man. I'd give it a smooth 9 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, what was the best basketball game you watched over your feast week? There was a lot of good ones.
Oh, my goodness. Man, when I tell you, Hank, my bad. I keep calling you. We're gonna stop that. I'm gonna end that.
I was crazy,
doing so
man.
good. I was doing so good.
All my coworkers are making fun of me now. We're a minute and a half in.
I was doing so good. All right, my bad. All right. When I tell you, Hank, I watched so much basketball that all the games really are starting to blend in because I literally probably watched more than 30 games last week, and that's all I do in my spare time. I thought the Tennessee-Houston game was really good. Goodness, there were so many good games. I thought the TCU-Florida game was really good, too. I actually watched that one. It was the day after Thanksgiving. That was on Thanksgiving? I don't know. Duke and Arkansas was on Thanksgiving. I vividly remember that because
that was a good one.
I watched it literally on my couch with my daughter.
We'll talk about Cam Boozer later too.
We will. There was a lot of good basketball, and we love Feast Week, but there's also some changes that we need to make to Feast Week, and we're going to get into that later on in the show. However, my mic moved. However, let's get into this 15 on 15. All right, let's do it.
All right, take it away.
Let's go. Let's start at number 15. No, start number 1. My bad. This week, the Purdue Boilermakers, they had a really solid week. I think after we recorded our last show, because we didn't do it last week due to the holidays, after we recorded our last show, so it wasn't last week, it was the week before, they played against Texas Tech, and I was extremely impressed. They dominated Tech, and I was very, very impressed with the domination. You saw in that game, defensively, they can get it done. They made it tough on JT Toppin. You see why this Boilermaker team is one of the top teams in the country, or they're number 1 according to this. To me personally, I think they're number 2. I think Arizona should probably be ahead of them. But you see why. You see everything that there is to love about them. You see Braden Smith's leadership. You see Trey Kaufman-Renn, his ability to be able to score in that low block. You see the inside-out threat. I mean, you see defensively they're getting it done. This Purdue Boilermaker team is serious. Do I think that they're the best team in the country? Do I think they should have this number 1 spot? I do not. But the team who I think should go number 1 and should be number 1 is currently at number 2 according to this list, which is Arizona. And I think they have the strongest resume in the country. They beat a UCLA team. It was on a neutral site, but the game was in LA, so technically that's a road game. I know they're not going to count it as a road game, but that was technically a road game for them. You go to UConn, you beat UConn in that fashion. And then the other win I want to say was against BYU. No, it wasn't against BYU. Who did Arizona beat in that other game, Hank? Why am I blanking?
Is it Norfolk State? Norfolk State?
Man, listen, it was a top. Oh, Florida. It was Florida, first game of the season. Norfolk State. Hank, what are we talking about?
That was who they beat last week.
I'm talking about overall. They have the strongest resume in the country. So in the strongest resume in the country, I think they should be the number 1 team. But those are 3 impressive wins. I mean, that was 2 top 5 wins and then a top 15 win. They're the best team in the country to me. However, this week they're going to be at number 2. All right, let's go number 3, because last week, the Michigan Wolverines were at number 7 in the country, but now they jumped up to number 3, and what a week it was. You get 3 quad 1 wins in 1 week, in one tournament. Let's be more specific. I mean, you beat San Diego State by 40. You beat Auburn by 30. You beat Gonzaga by 40. And this was 2 top 25 wins. Like I said, it was 3 quad 1 wins, 2 top 25 wins, and you don't have a game closer than 30. Oh my goodness. Michigan figured it out. I was a little suspect on them earlier, Hank. I can't even lie.
I
I
was
mean,
too.
the game against TCU, I didn't like what I saw. Even though Yax was playing hurt, I still didn't love what I saw. The game against Wake Forest, I didn't love what I saw. But nonetheless, they got it done. They figured it out. They have the best front court in the country. You heard me right. The best front court in the country. Michigan Wolverines. They showed that on display last week.
We're
Let's
gonna
move to
get to
number
some
four.
Michigan hoops for sure. You and I have some apologies to make after our last episode, but
Oh
we
yeah,
can keep it rolling.
we definitely we are men who can understand and can admit when we are wrong. So therefore, we will admit that later on in the show.
Strong
But
man.
number four, the
Yes.
Duke Blue Devils, strongman. I love that. All right, Cameron Boozer, this game against Arkansas, the game who I told you I watched on Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. Now I will say this. Let me preface this by saying, I don't necessarily know. Oh, this is going to be a hot take. I don't necessarily know how good Cam Boozer will be in the NBA. But one thing I do know is that he is a hell of a college player, and that young man is really, really talented. When that game against in the game against Arkansas, they literally just gave him the ball and said, hey, go to work. John Shire does a great job of finding ways to put Cam Boozer in spots to have success, and Caleb Foster was phenomenal. They need that level of guard play from Caleb Foster if Duke wants to have success. This week will be a tough week. We will see what they're made of because outside of that Arkansas win, they really haven't played anybody, and I'm standing on that. So we'll see how good they really are. Let's go number 5, the UConn Huskies. I like this UConn team. I'm a huge, huge fan of this UConn team. I mean, when you look at what Zolo Ball can do, when you look at Alex Caravan, I mean, these veterans, these veterans for UConn understand how to get it done. Their only loss in the season was in what I view the loss to the best team in the country. But outside of that, you beat a really good Illinois team last week. They just find ways to get it done. And truthfully, I think they're about to win. I think they're going to win this game tonight because we're recording this on Tuesday. They're going to win this game tonight in Allen. I think that they're going, I mean, there's no Darren Peterson. Darren Peterson just got ruled out tonight. So even though Kansas is figuring it out, even though Kansas is looking a lot better than what they looked originally, without Darren Peterson, you don't have enough to go beat this team. Silas Demery, Solo Ball, those guys are going to go into Allen Fieldhouse and not be scared, not have any fear. I'm picking UConn over Kansas. Let's go to number 6 because they stayed in the same place, the Louisville Cardinals. Mikel Brown has been good. Last week, they didn't really play anybody, but this week, they have 2 tough tasks. They're going to play Arkansas. I love this matchup between Mikel Brown, Darius Acuff Jr., 2 freshman point guards who aren't necessarily getting the same love that we're seeing Peterson, Boozer, or AJ DeBance get. However, these are 2 of the best point guards, not only in the freshman class, but in America. So that will be a high-level matchup because I was very, very impressed with Darius Acuff Jr. in Arkansas. But Mikel Brown has been really, really good. They play number 25, Arkansas. They play Indiana, number 22. 2 top 25 matchups this week. We're going to learn a lot about Louisville. And I think outside of Kentucky, they really haven't been tested that much. And the one time they have against Kansas in the exhibition game, they didn't look too good. So we'll see what they're made of this week. Let's move to number 7, Michigan State. Last week, they were number 11. They jumped up 4 spots. I love this Michigan State team. They're just a really good team. They don't do anything great. They're just really, really good. And honestly, that's all that matters. I mean, when you look at Jeremy Fears and what he can do at that point guard spot, I mean, is he his brother? No, he is not. But does that mean that he is not a good point guard? It does not mean that. That means he is still a high-level elite point guard. He just isn't his brother, but he's very, very good. This young man controls the tempo. He is a dog defensively, offensively, not a great shooter, but an elite level facilitator, can get to the midi, just understands how to control everything. When you have guys like Cohen Carr running the lane, you have Jackson Kohler down low posting up. I mean, he just makes the game easier for everybody. Jeremy Fears is really that dude. Let's go to number 8. They were number 3 last week. They dropped 5 spots. The Houston Cougars. And they lost to Tennessee. They beat Notre Dame. They play Florida State on Saturday. That's actually a game that I will be doing. Florida State at Houston. The game will be at the Toyota Center. Make sure you tune in.
Make sure you tune in. Really good Come on.
Make sure you tune in. It should be a really, really good one. But, I mean, when you look at Kingston Flemings, I find it interesting. We're going to have to dive a little bit deeper into this on a later episode, but I find it interesting because Kingston Flemings was supposed to be the point guard of the future for Houston and for Kelvin Sampson. However, the way that he is playing right now, it's almost as if Kelvin Sampson will only have him for 1 year. He is playing at such an elite level. If he can keep this up, my man is gone and there's no chance of him returning. Go get the bag 100%. So I'm interested to see what Kelvin Sampson does moving forward when you lose Sharp, Uzan, and Kingston Flemings in the same year. To be determined, but we'll get into that later on in a future episode. Let's go to number 9, the BYU Cougars. They finally got Kennard Davis back, which I thought was really huge because I think when you look at that UConn game specifically, yes, they came back, but with Kennard Davis, I think he frees up AJ DeBansta. He makes it easier for AJ because Richie Saunders is phenomenal. He's great, but he's not really a guy that gets his own shot. He's a guy that needs other people around him to be able to make plays for him. Rob Wright truly isn't a true point guard. He can pass the ball, but it's not his main thing. He's a score first, pass second point guard. And Kennard Davis is just a guy who can do it all. He's a jack of all trades. He can shoot it. He can create. Defensively, I think is where he helps the most because of his length and his versatility. But he just makes the game easier for AJ DeBansta. And I know Kevin Young loves having him back. Let's go to Iowa State because they had a pretty good week. I was really impressed with them in the Players Era tournament. To go 3-0 in a tournament and to play to beat St. John's. I want to say they beat snap, I'm blanking. They beat Syracuse. They beat Creighton. These are high-level wins. I mean, and you do 2 out of those 3 without Taman Lipsey. One thing I learned from this Ottoberger team is that culture matters. Culture matters with these guys. Whoever goes down, they always have somebody ready to step up because that's what their culture is. It's hard to really be able to sustain a culture in today's climate in college basketball. But TJ Ottoberger is a very underrated coach when it comes to that category. We have to dive deeper later on in another future episode because that's a topic I really want to break down. All right, number 11, Gonzaga. They took a very bad beating. Very embarrassing beating. But before that, they were really, really good. I mean, they beat an Alabama team who was number 8 last week. They beat Alabama by 10. They smacked Maryland, beat them by 39. And they took a very, very bad loss to Michigan. However, they play Kentucky this week. This is their bounce back week on Friday. Bounce back week, bounce back game. I think that they have a lot to prove, especially after their last showing. But no doubt, Mark Few is one of the greatest coaches in this sport. He will get those guys bounced back and ready. They're old, they're veteran. I don't think they're worried about this. I don't think that game will carry over. It's just one bad outing. You have those. It just happened to be on a massive stage. Nonetheless, they'll bounce back. They're good. Let's go to number 12. Alabama Crimson Tide. They have to bounce back a little bit too. They took a tough loss against Gonzaga, which was a really good game. However, they beat UNLV, they beat Maryland, 2 teams who really just aren't that good. I know, Hank, I know you love Maryland, and that's your squad. They're just not that good, and they've been struggling. They got smacked. But in those 2 games against UNLV and Maryland, I mean, look, they beat Maryland, UNLV. That's so many points. I can't even tell you the number right there. I want to say that's 30. Dang, they beat them by 39. Oh my goodness, 115-76, and they beat Maryland by 33. Yeah, I'm good at math at Baylor Education. But nonetheless, LeBaron Philon is one of the best point guards in the country, and I think this is such a really good point guard class. And we'll break down the top 10 point guards or top 5 point guards, my top 5, very, very soon. But this is a high-level class. And when you look at it, LeBaron Philon is really him. I love LeBaron Philon. He's one of my favorites. He's definitely one of my favorites.
Really good at offense. He's really good at offense.
And sometimes you don't have to guard if you get buckets. Just kidding. I feel like you got to play both sides of the basketball in order to be successful or in order to have success. And speaking of success playing both sides, Tennessee, that's what they do at number 13. They were number 17 last week. They jumped up 4 spots. They had a really big win against Houston. That was a massive, massive win. I'm a little disappointed in their loss to Kansas because after that huge win against Houston, I was looking at this Tennessee team like, man, this team is an Elite Eight level team. Nate Ament didn't have a good game. Gillespie had a great game, and they just found a way to win. And that's what you like. I mean, that was one of the first teams who I really saw was able to match the physicality for a whole 40 minutes against this Houston team. So I was extremely impressed. However, they followed it up with a not so great performance against Kansas, but they have a really good test, number 14, Illinois this week. And that's who is at number 14. So that's what we're going to go to right now. And this Kylan Boswell, Jacoby Gillespie point guard battle, I think is going to be very, very interesting. Illinois has to redeem themselves. The loss against UConn, was that a bad loss? No. However, those are the games in which I know Brad Underwood would like to win. And those are the games in which you have another opportunity to redeem yourself this week against this Tennessee team. For Illinois, they have to match the physicality of Tennessee. If you do not match the physicality, you have no chance in this game. Tennessee is very underrated in the way that they play basketball. That's why that game against Tennessee and Houston was such a great game because both teams were extremely physical. So if you cannot match the physicality of Tennessee, you have no chance. So when you talk about foreign basketball, they're not typically extra physical like you would think. They're very high IQ skilled players. But can they match the physicality of Tennessee? We will see. And number 15, the Florida Gators. They dropped 5. Oh, my goodness. I'm not huge on this Florida team. I think that we rated them way too high in the preseason. Way too high. Xavier Lee, where have you been? The loss against TCU? Xavier Lee has not been good. I've been thoroughly disappointed. I do think he's on a slump. I do think he'll play better. But as of right now, Xavier Lee, goodness gracious, this game against Duke will be telling. I mean, it's at Duke. It'll be tough, but we'll see how good this young man really is. We'll see how good Boogie Fland really is. That'll be a really, really good matchup that I'm looking forward to. And that's 15 on 15. I think I beat the buzzer.
Very nicely done.
But nonetheless, I think I did it.
For half-court shots, we allow an extra half second on the buzzer, so we'll give you the buffer there. We're going to talk more about Florida.
That's crazy.
Because we got hot or not coming up, and Florida will be in that not column for sure. But I wanted to touch on one more thing with this 15 on 15. You said it right at the beginning. You think that Arizona is actually the best team in the country right now, not on Purdue. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona has the best resume in the country. I mean, 3 top 15 wins. Nobody else in the country has 3 top 15 wins, let alone 2 top 5 wins. The way that Tommy Lloyd is built and designed the schedule was that he was ducking no smoke. And the thing about it is nobody expected this out of this Arizona team. Jaden Bradley has easily made himself one of the best guards in the country. Last year, he was one of the best guards in the Big 12. This year, he has made it known and established himself as one of the best guards in the country. So to have those 2 top 5 wins, one against Florida, who's the number 1 team in the country, then you go to UConn and beat them the way that you beat them, and then the quote-unquote neutral site game that was really a road game, a road game for Arizona, but a home game for UCLA. I mean, listen, that right there for me is the argument in which shows me and tells me that this Arizona team is the number 1 team in the country, and they should be. I think their resume is as impressive as anybody in the country. The only other team who I think might give them a run for their money is Michigan when it comes to resume. But I'll take Arizona as the best team over Purdue.
All right, King, I'm looking at Purdue's schedule coming up over the next few games. They got, Rutgers, Iowa State, Marquette, Auburn, even Kent State, who's not a pushover, and then Wisconsin. That with their talented guards, they always play teams tough. So what does Purdue have to do over these next couple of weeks to prove to you that they deserve the number 1 spot?
They have to win. And they have to win all of these games because when I look at what you just said, out of all those games, I mean, I think they're losing that Iowa State game. I just think Iowa State's going to beat them. I think the physicality that Iowa State's playing with, we talked about their culture in the 15 on 15. I think the culture is going to be on display. I think Lipsy, if he's back and he's playing, I think he's one of the few guards in the country that can really guard Braden Smith and give him a really, really tough time. So I think they're going to lose that game against Iowa State. But everybody else, you should beat. You should beat Auburn. I mean, you beat a better Alabama team at Alabama. You should beat Wisconsin. I mean, they're decent, but they're not great. This is a schedule in which you should win majority of these games. So if you really are the number one team in the country, go show me.
Both Arizona and Purdue have games against Auburn coming up, which are, we can use them as a measuring stick with that common opponent. Which team do you think matches up better with Auburn?
I mean, I think both of these teams are better than Auburn. So I think they both match up pretty well. I think that Auburn is a good team, but are they top 25 worthy? I don't see it. I don't think they're a top 25 team in the country. I just think that they have too many weaknesses and too many flaws in their game. I think Tahad Pettiford is very streaky. I think he has to be more consistent. Keyshawn Hall is a bucket getter, but I just don't think he impacts the game in other ways. And that's my guy. I mean, I think he's very, very talented, but I'm not huge on this Auburn team. So I think both teams should really be able to dominate this Auburn squad. But we got a lot more in store for you. So stay tuned, and the King McClure Show will be right back. Welcome back to the King McClure Show. And right now, we're about to get into hot or not. Let's talk about who's hot this week. Coming in number one, no surprise, Michigan. The Michigan Wolverines are extremely, extremely hot. I'm talking about so hot, you touch them, you might get your finger burned. This team right here, the way that they played in the Players Era tournament with a healthy Big Yaks, he's figured it out. He looks like he's actually healthy now. At first, he was playing injured. Now he looks healthy. So when you look at what he can do, he changes everything for Michigan. So at that 3 spot, when you have him on the perimeter, he is a mismatch problem because he's 6'9". So he is, if you put a bigger defender on him, right? This just goes to show his versatility. If you put a bigger defender on him, he can blow by because he has enough handle to be able to get to the rim and to be able to score on you. But if you put a smaller defender on him, which is what he's going to get majority of the time playing that 3 spot in college, you don't see too many threes that are 6'9". So if you put a small defender on him, he can post you up and he can go to work and he can seal you down low. He's such a versatile piece that I know Dusty May loves. And then when you look at Mara at 7'3", this man is a first-round draft pick. You have Morez Johnson Jr., who's a monster down low. I said this earlier, they have the best front court in college basketball.
Yeah.
Then when you have guys actually knocking down shots like Burnett, like Cadeau, like McKinney, when those guys are knocking down shots, you can't help from anywhere on the floor. Because if you try to double down low, Yaks is a good enough passer to kick it out. When you throw it to Mara down low, you have to allow him to play one-on-one. And at 7'3", he's going to score a majority of opponents because he has the height advantage, and that hook is so hard to block. So when you look at this team, they are built like a national championship team. The key to this is they have to continue to knock down shots. They didn't do that early on in the season. They have to continue to knock down shots. They can do that. This team will be dangerous. They can win the Big Ten, and they could also contend for a national championship.
I think it was 73% in that game against Gonzaga from the field. But my favorite stat about Michigan I've heard lately, this came from Myron Metcalf. They're 28th in average height they're putting out on the court, 21st in tempo. So they're big and they can move. That's scary. And I feel like usually those double big lineups, you don't see them working that well. But May's figured something out with the athletes they got out there.
I mean, this might be the first triple big lineup because technically Yaks played the 5 at UAB last year. Let's not get it twisted, people.
That's crazy.
Big Yaks was a 5-man, so this might be the first triple big lineup that actually works in college basketball. But they're not the only team in Michigan, though, that's good, Hank. Because Michigan State, this Michigan State rivalry, the game this year, might be the best that we have seen in a very long time. I can't remember it being this good when both teams were so high level to where you're looking like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait till conference play starts. I cannot wait till this game happens. Like Michigan State, once again, like I said earlier, this Izzo team is just a typical Izzo team. They're physical. They out-rebound you. They're skilled. They can shoot it from deep. They just try to punk you every single time they step on the floor. That's what Izzo likes. It's not one-on-one ISO star basketball. This is just good team basketball. They play a winning brand of basketball, a winning brand of hoops. And this is how Izzo loves it. And he loves having a point guard like Jeremy Fears that can score, that can facilitate, that can be like your team leader. It's very similar to those teams with Cassius Winston. Now, can Fears score the ball like Cassius? No, he cannot. But Fears is a better defender, and he's just very, very tough. Like the similarity outside of the headband is the toughness. Small guards who are tough, who are dogs, they just fit in with Izzo. And this is going to be a hell of a matchup. I cannot wait till these two teams play.
What Cassius had was like when the clock was ticking down and the ball was in his hands, you were comfortable. You knew that he was going to make the right decision, right? I don't know if Fears is there yet, but he's a younger player. Like Cassius was with Michigan State for 4 years, right? Like I think as we go throughout that season, and Izzo even had a quote about this. He said, and you're gonna love this. He said, "Good quarterbacks get you to Final Fours. I think I got one in the making." So if Izzo is starting to recognize that and trust his decision making of Fears, like we're gonna see, the sky's the limit for that team. All right, who's next? Who else is hot right now?
Let's go. Players Air Festival. That tournament is hot. And I hate that it is hot. I absolutely hate that it is hot.
What do you mean? Like, what is this? What is this take? You got to break this down.
There are so many things that we can get into about this. But let's just start here. I hate the format of the Players Air tournament. They have to change that because you have a team like Kansas who got into that Final Four game. I do think, though, that Gonzaga and Michigan were the best two teams in the tournament. They got that one right. All right, cool. You got it right. That's cute. However, when it comes to this third place game, because they first off, they randomly select your opponents. Then they go based off of a point differential. And the top four with the best point differential, they get to the Final Four. And if you get to the Final Four, I want to say you split $2 million. And if you win it, you get an extra $1 million. So that could help your NIL. So it's not like I'm saying this because like there's actually a pretty significant benefit or a significant consequence to not making that Final Four. So you have a team like Iowa State who beats St. John's, top 25 team, and beats Creighton, top 50 team in the country. Iowa State beats both of them. However, Kansas beat Notre Dame and they beat Syracuse. Neither one of those teams are in the top 50. So you mean to tell me that Iowa State have a better resume leaving the Players Era tournament in the pool play based off the first two games than Kansas did, and they get penalized because they didn't beat these two better teams, by more points than Kansas did against these two worst teams. So Iowa State has a better resume, but they got left out the Final Four because they played two harder opponents.
Okay,
that to me doesn't make sense.
I see how this does not compute, but then what makes the Players Era tournament hot? If you have all these issues,
because every team wants this $1 million. I mean, I see why people want to play in it because you get $1 million just for showing up. That helps your NIL. That helps helps your whole program. That's a lot of money to be able to give to a program for sure.
Like a player, like if you're the second string, like shooting guard on some Big Ten team, like do you care about your team's NIL spending? Are you really trying to add to the pot? Yeah,
for sure. Because look, if I'm the second string guy and I don't know how teams and coaches split up that $1 million. I can go ask Baylor if I need to. But I would think that they take the $1 million and they split it 15 ways. And everybody gets an equal amount. Because, I mean, dude's making your salary already. But I would say in a tournament like this, everybody just gets an equal amount. So if I'm second string, bro, this is like $70,000 to $100,000 extra dollars. I mean, maybe you don't have to split 15 ways. I don't know. The math is too much. The math is not math in my head.
I thought you were bragging about that Baylor education earlier.
I was bragging earlier on the Baylor education. But nonetheless, this is a significant change. And I think it's more so a nice penny for those guys who don't play, because that just adds on to already because they're not getting millions of dollars, but this could really help somebody that really doesn't play, like you said. So I hate the format of it. Next year they're trying to go to 32 teams, Hank.
Too many.
So if you're trying to go to 32 teams,
Too
that
many.
means you got to pay out $32 million. This year was 16. That's $32 million. I don't know where they're getting this money from, but $32 million to me, I don't know if that's sustainable year after year after year after year to continue to make this tournament. Because 32 teams, Hank,
Too
that's a
many.
lot of money to be dishing out.
It's too many teams. It's also like you want to see. I like with Feast Week. I like all the different tournaments. I like that there's good teams over here and good teams over there. You know, you want to see games
Yeah.
in Maui and games in Vegas. You don't want it all in one spot. Too
Which
much.
is beautiful because you take me to my third problem with this. This tournament killed Maui. This tournament killed the battle for Atlantis. When you look at the battle for Atlantis and Maui, that roster, the teams in there, the roster, the team list, that was not a list in which was appealing to the eye, respectfully. That was not a list that actually had viewers being like, yeah, let's go turn this on. Man, I remember growing up when you were watching Maui, you were watching North Carolina play, you was watching Duke, Tennessee, all the best teams in the country, Michigan State, would go to Maui, and the final would be Michigan State, North Carolina. That's why we loved Maui in Feast Week. I mean, when I played in the Battle for Atlantis, in order for us to win the tournament, we had to play VCU first round, Michigan State second round, and Louisville third round in the championship. I mean, like that's a high level, high quality tournament. Wichita State was in there the same year with us. We didn't play them. But that's a high quality tournament. There was so much good hoops on Feast Week. And I think the Players era kind of sort of just took away from what we're used to seeing. And then you put it in the MGM arena, bro, it was empty. There were people there, but the MGM holds north of 10,000 people, and there's probably only a smooth 4 or 5. So majority of the arena was empty. When you used to look at Battle for Atlantis, because it's played in a ballroom, right? When you look at Maui, it's played at Chaminade, my bad, excuse my language, I don't know. But when you look at that, these are very intimate environments that hold no more than 3,000 to 4,000 people, and it's filled. There's no empty seat, only standing room. That is what we love about Feast Week. So this tournament, the Players Era tournament, it was a good tournament. However, it's killing what we grew up loving about college basketball. And that is why I hate that it is hot, because I love college basketball. I love Feast Week, and it's ruining our childhoods, Hank.
All right.
Maybe not yours because you're like 20, but it's ruining our childhoods.
I remember watching, Big Bill Walton calling the Maui games, like that was always fun for me to see. So yeah, it's a bummer that doesn't get the prestige that it deserves. I think that right there, it's hot, but it's also not. That's as good of a transition as we're going to get. Let's take one more quick break. Let's come right back and do our not hot for this week.
And we're back, and we have to discuss who's not hot this week. And you know what? This one hurts my heart. This one absolutely hurts my heart, Hank. Because who's not hot this week? Jerome Tang in Kansas State. Losing to Bowling Green. Oh, my goodness. And I love Jerome Tang with everything in me. He coached me at Baylor. That man right there means so much to me. And I hate to do this. But losing to Bowling Green is such a bad performance and a bad showing.
It's Bowling Green's first win over a Power 4 team in 20 years. And it's the third loss in a row for Tang, too. I mean, I like the guy, too, but oof.
Oof. That one is tough. And I mean, in his quote, he said, what'd he say? He said, "We didn't deserve to wear a Kansas State uniform tonight. I would have walked out if I could have. That's on me. We're going to fix some things." I mean, I love how he always takes accountability. That's the type of man he is. And I'm just hoping that they can turn it around. I hope they can turn it around, because that right there with the third loss in a row, the fan base I know is probably getting a little upset. And I hate this part of college basketball. And this one hurts my heart because I believe in Coach Tang and I'm his biggest supporter. But that's a bad loss. So we're going to have to say they're not hot. And the next team that's not hot is Florida. Now, although they had that win over Providence where Xavier Lee did play better, I'm a little concerned. If Xavier Lee does not come to the party and does not start turning up the way that we saw him do at Princeton, they are going to be in for a long season and a long season full of disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, he had that big dagger shot in that game that went viral.
Yes.
He had the step back and he hit the three. Hopefully maybe that can be
tough.
like a confidence moment that they can build off of. But I'm curious, like, it seems like Boogie Fland is struggling a little bit too. Do you think that maybe like those guys will rise and fall together? Is it a little bit, where Lee's struggles have taken a bad effect on Fland? Neither of them can get into a rhythm, or is it just that they both individually need to work out whatever's holding them back?
I just think they got to do a better job of gelling together. I mean, they haven't gelled. And I think last year we kind of saw not similar issues, but I mean, Boogie Fland and DJ Wagner just didn't gel together. And granted, Boogie was injured for a little minute, but they just didn't gel well together. And it's not a knock to either one of those guys. They're good point guards. They're both good, very, 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 very good players. However, Boogie and Xavier Lee they have not gelled well together. And majority of the time, it's been Xavier not really making shots, not really scoring the ball as efficiently as he did last year. I mean, we saw what he could do at Princeton, but this is a different level, big dog. You got to come to the party, or people are going to start saying, "Oh, did you make the right decision? Or should you have stayed at Princeton? Is Xavier Lee ready for this?" I think he's talented. I think he'll be fine, but he has to join the party soon before it's too late for Florida.
It's the SEC, man. You can't shoot 27% from three in the SEC. It's just not good enough.
Or you're not gonna beat anybody. You're not getting it done if he's not scoring. Good guards is what gets you wins at this level, especially in the SEC. But in Power 5 basketball, good guards get you wins, and that right there is why I'm saying I'm concerned about this Florida team. So if Xavier Lee doesn't come to the party, I'm a little bit concerned. All right, let's transition to the next segment, Hank. The Kings of the Week.
Who gets a crown this week, King?
We're going to make this very, very similar. I got to give a crown to number one, Cameron Boozer. His performance was phenomenal against Arkansas. He showed why he was elite. He showed why he's one of the best players in college basketball. He's just a dog. He can do it all. Do I think he'll be good in the NBA? Jury to be determined. However, once again, like I said earlier, he's a great college player. He's averaging 23. I like to round up. It says 9.8. I'm going with 10 and then 4 assists and 2 steals. He's putting up numbers. He's the first Duke player over the past 45 years with multiple 35-point games on 70% shooting in a season.
Wait, but the craziest part of that stat is if you look at the two other players who have done it, JJ Redick, he got his second game like that in his 99th game, and Jay Williams, it took him 83 games to do it. Cameron Boozer has played 8 games at Duke. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say this is one of the best scorers that Duke has ever had.
But we also have to remember, Hank, that Duke really hasn't played anybody yet. So, yeah, he did it against Arkansas. I need to see it against different competition. Duke hasn't played against anybody. I'm not impressed with their resume.
You're so skeptical of this guy.
I'm not impressed with their resume. I'm not. So I need to see it consistently against better competition, which I'm not saying he can't do it. I think he can, but I need to see it with my own 2 eyes. All right, you know what I have seen, though? You know who I have seen get buckets on a high level? Is Cameron Carr, the Tennessee transfer. Now he's at Baylor. I got to give love to my alma mater. He is tough. He can hoop. I think he's a pro. I think he is an absolute pro. And for that, he gets a crown. I mean, he's averaging 23 points per game this season. He is cooking. Elite. I think that Tennessee lost a good one. I'll put it like that. Tennessee lost a good one. Next, we've already touched on him. Jeremy Fears gets a crown. You saw he did against North Carolina. He just controlled everything. He is the engine that makes Michigan State go. Jeremy Fears, you get a crown. And this next one, he's in the NBA, but he was a college player last year and a really, really good college player. We talk about point guards who dominated, who averaged 10 assists last season. You know who I'm talking about, Ryan Nembhard. He is playing for the Mavericks right now. He is starting for the Mavericks right now. My man had 28 points and 10 assists against Denver last night, and they got the dub.
No turnovers. Either.
They got the dub against Denver. How impressive is that? 28 and 10. Ryan Nembhard, although you're in the NBA, you're not in college, you get a crown.
All right. So the reason we had to throw this in here is because this is one of the first conversations, King, you and I had, is like, this dude was just so obviously going to be good. We were talking about this Maverick season
Yes.
coming up. We're talking about the hole they had at point guard, and we both felt like there was an answer on the roster. And it's so fun to see Ryan killing it, especially like a player of his size, a little bit smaller stature,
Yes.
going out there, being a dog with the big boys. It's so fun to watch. So my question for you, and this can be the last thing we do in the show today, who is a guy that reminds you of Ryan Nembhard in college basketball this year? Someone who is clearly a talented basketball player who is just going to get overlooked on his way up to the next level. And one guy or a couple guys, who are some people that I should have my eye on to see that to see that their impact will translate over, even if other people are going to miss it.
Okay, I got one for you. And I don't necessarily think he's going to be overlooked. However, I don't think a lot of people would have Braden Smith on draft boards. I don't think a lot of people think that Braden Smith can be an NBA point guard because of his size and what he lacks on the defensive side. So I think that although Braden Smith is an elite college player and everybody knows the name, and he might win most MVP of the season, he might get the become the best player award, whatever that award is. I don't know. I forgot. I don't know.
That's the Wooden Award. You should know that one.
The Wooden Award. I should definitely know that. That right there probably needs to be edited out. But the Wooden Award, I just don't necessarily think that he will be drafted. Definitely not in the first round, but maybe not even the second round either. I think it could be tough for him. So I think Braden Smith is a guy who we can look up at next year and could be in somebody's rotation. And if due to a few injuries, could possibly be starting and really make some noise in the NBA. So I think he's a guy that can get overlooked in the draft process for sure.
Hey, can I throw something out there?
Go ahead.
The Pacers should have a high second round pick this year with the way they're playing. The way their style of the super fast moving, everybody they put on the court is a confident ball handler, confident decision maker. And then the way their guards like dog you up and down the court a little bit, especially with Halliburton coming back next year and whatever top pick they get in the draft, it could be very fun to see Braden Smith staying in the state of Indiana. I would like to see that next year. But all right, King, anything else for us today?
No, sir. That is all. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Join us every week for the King McClure Show, your home for everything college basketball news and notes. If you like it, subscribe. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming for you, me and Hank together. This should be a fun ride, all right? Well, tune in for next week. Appreciate you. I'm out.